G'day guys and welcome to the Centre Bounce with this my team update video of how I did in round 2. Stay tuned. Yes guys, it is yet another late night recording session where I have to keep my voice down. There seems to be just that delay when it comes to Supercoach opening that I really want to give you guys my first impressions of how my team did, as well as some of the plans that I have in store. Obviously, we do our final, I suppose, trade video and captaincy on later in the week. However, I do want to help you guys sort of get an idea of what I'm thinking when I first look at my team and sort of be like, all right, these are the moves that I'm thinking about making. And then we sit on it, we stew on it, we do a bit of research during the course of the week, and then we make that decision. But first things first, we look at how we did. And this is how we did this week. Definitely a lot better than last week. As you can see, we had a very big jump up the rankings this week, 55,000 up if you don't mind, and it's always at the early stage of the game where everyone is so close to each other when it comes to the points. The rankings vary very wildly, and next week could very well be the same again, except in a negative way. So you never really know which way things are going to go, but it's definitely a lot better to be up. We did manage to crack 2,000 this week with the less than optimal captaincy option, and yet we still managed to crack 2,000. As you can see, around half of my leagues have been wins. So you either did really well or you did not quite so well this week. It was a best 18. It's going to be another best 18 this week to come. And looking at it specifically in relation to how my players did, it wasn't too bad. The rookie roulette definitely wasn't damaging for us. We did go with the Nick Dacos VC. Thursday night VCs never work. So I'm looking forward to not doing that again. However, having said that, I can totally see Nick Dacos popping off again against the Brisbane Lions. He just looked really out of it. Dan Houston, I feel like he's just gonna give me serviceable scores every week with the occasional spike game. But it just seems like he's going to be a steady top 6 defender. Sheasel was the guy I traded in last week. Obviously very happy with the 113. He's got the roll down there and looks unreal. Hayden Young, in our sights, he is gone. He's playing in the midfield, but he's playing it really badly, unfortunately. So Hayden Young, we gave him the chance, but that's it. You're out, son. Howes and Hoare. Look, I think these two guys are going to be in a lot of people's teams. Yes, Hall was the sub. Sucks, really does suck for him. But his break-even's still going to be low. Obviously, you've got Stephen May with his broken ribs, looking to miss maybe 2 or 3 games. So I think Hall could be really good in that space. And Howes, I think he's a pretty safe fieldable option for us. Williams and Reid obviously didn't play, but Williams will be back this week, so that's great. The Bont 136 did have an injury scare as well with his ankle, having had it been rolled under, and then another knee issue as well, having that looked over. But this guy is he's the Bond, right? What more do you have to say? Tom Green, he was my captain. Was really confident that regardless of whatever happened with my VCs, at least he will be a very safe captain option for me, and he was. A 137 is a great score. It just is unfortunate when you had other players like Zach Butters, for example, who a lot of people had the VC on or the C. He went 175, so you're losing almost 40 points there, and then when you double it, you're losing 80 points. And people who had, for example, Dogger, Luke Jackson, he also really popped off and people had VC on him as well. So when you have these sort of big astronomical scores, despite your team doing quite well around the park, others might not have a great team, but by nailing that vice captain or captaincy option, they can still manage to get ahead of you and beat you. So it's a little bit disappointing. It's really important that you do nail your captaincy options, but in isolation, Tom Green was not a wrong selection. 137 is a great captaincy score. Dawson, it's disappointing It is really disappointing because with Dawson, he's got the role. He's got over 80% centre bounce attendances, over 10 tackles in this game. He found the ball. He had the role. It's the ball use. It's the ball use. He had 130 Dream Team for 96 Supercoach. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I don't know what it is about my players this year. Normally good users, and yet when they're in my team, they don't do very well. I don't know what it is. This year's been a pretty. I think the team where it currently stands is that it's. I think it's very positive from a cash gen perspective when it comes to the rookies that you really want to have. I think I've got most of them, if not close to all of them. The problem that my team currently has is that the premiums I've got, not all of them are living up to their potential, and Dawson is one of them. And it might be it's really easy for me to just trade him out and say, I'm sick of it. I've paid up this much money for you and you've only given me an average of 89. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hold on to him because that 130 fantasy, that 130 dream team, in a lot of instances, it translates to potentially a 150 to 160 super coach. And if he did that, if he just was a bit more efficient, I'd be an absolute winner here. I'm willing to back him in because the role is there. He's getting all the CBAs. He's tackling. He's finding the ball, no issues. It's just the cleanliness of his disposal. And he's normally a very good ball user. I'm willing to back him in. Yes, he's likely to lose quite a bit of money. His break even now is, 189. He's absolutely going to lose a lot of money. I could very well and truly go to a Sarong. Sarong isn't pumping out 140s every week. There's no way. Dawson has started slow. The first game was really tough conditions. Second game were better conditions, but the Cats really came to play. I'm really hoping and expecting a strong bounce back from him against Fremantle this week. Dawson, I'm trusting in you, bro. I really am. I'm putting a lot of trust in you, and I'm gonna you better come through for me, please. You gotta come through for me, mate. Zach Butters, he was just moved. He's such a smooth operator, isn't he? He's been in our preseason sides the entire preseason, except for when he had that ankle concern. But I know a lot of people on Twitter are complaining about not having him because of the ankle. And I can completely understand where they're coming from. I completely understand. And it really sucks that he had to do it in the preseason. It really sucks that he never went back out again in the preseason after rolling that ankle, so that we can have a look and see if he really is ready to go. And by the looks of things, he really is. He's on absolute fire. James Jordan, I traded him in last week. Very nice, respectable 88. Doing really good things for us. He's going to make us a lot of money. He's already jumped up to 320 now, which is excellent. That's what I got him in for. Roberts, McKercher, Sanders, the trifecta. Got the trinity here of high-scoring rookies. And that's the sort of structure that I had, because I genuinely believe that all three of these guys are fieldable options. Sanders as well, as long as his coach doesn't stuff him around. And we know Bevo loves to stuff everybody around. But yeah, I'm very happy to have all three of these rookies on the field. And that's just sort of the way that my team is currently structured. It's a very guns and rookies oriented sort of strategy. And these rookies are guns. They're guns and rookies at the same time. Carroll didn't play. Use him as a loop to see how these boys did. 63 and 60. I mean, this is wonderful. This is, and Clark had a very good amount of CBAs with injuries over there at the Cats. I'm looking to hold on to him, and I think he'll make us decent money. Not incredible amounts, but he'll make us some money, which is really important. And Sharp with another 60-plus score, which is very good. Very happy for my rookies on the bench to go at around the 60s mark and make us their money slowly, whereas the ones that I have on the field are the ones that are popping off. Tim English with 138 obviously was really blessed. Normally against Wits at Gold Coast, it is the toughest matchup for Ruckman, but thankfully Wits was out, and that allowed English to go at a 138, which is definitely a lot more than it otherwise would have gone. Now coming into a West Coast Eagles matchup this week, which is wonderful. So, so good. And just to preface it, he's going to be my captain, and Butters will be my vice captain. They're both in such ripping form, and English against the Eagles, every ruckman seems to be doing really well, and this fixture in particular is one of those juicy reasons why I started English to begin with. Grundy, mate, that was not a 99 score game. I don't know. I thought he didn't really have an incredible game. Then again, we got the two rucks in Draper and Goldie, which was pretty tough for him to overcome. And 99, look, he's not going to make us too much money at this rate. I mean, what's his current break even now? His current break even now is 112. Really hope he pops off against Richmond this week. Thankfully, he's got West Coast next week to hopefully then allow us for him to make us some money to then flip him on to trade him out to whoever looks really good. For me, since I've already got English, it could be, I'm looking at potentially Rowan Marshall. Heaney is Heaney, bro. He's so good. 136 average. It's that early fixture plus the midfield time. It's what we were talking about and the reason why we picked him. And if you haven't picked him, he's already up to 545k. Flanders, I knew you were a keeper. I knew you were a primo. I knew you were going to be top 6. And I know a lot of people were looking to fade you early on, but I believed in you and I fought for you, and you got 118 average for me now up until you buy, which is really good. And in a smashing, they were smashed. From Nickel 102 is really impressive. Billings a 69. Thank God he was so not involved in the play. I know I said in the previous video that he loves to play wide and utilize the width of the MCG, lead up, take a lot of these marks, pinpoint targets, but he plays so wide. Any wider, and he'd be playing where the ball was where Higgins kicked that goal from against Collingwood. Unreal how wide he plays. Look, I'm not really confident that he's going to give us great scoring all the time. Thankfully now that sub game is out of his system, and his break even now is still negative 34. So I'm looking to move Billings on sooner rather than later. As soon as he can continue to make us a little bit more money. If he goes 62, he's going to make us another 44k. So hopefully he gives us a good score this week. Harley Reid, it was a tough game against the Giants, and for him to go 63, I'm not disappointed by that at all. He's got a break even of 24, so he should negative 24, so he should be able to reach that. You would imagine without any troubles whatsoever. Negative 24. Sexton a 47, not the best to be honest, and he's now on his bye, and it could be premature, but I think he's going to be in my trade plans this week. Nothing wrong with him per se, but his break-evens now is only negative 6, and he's up against the Giants, who are really good at restricting scores from halfback. So Sexton, I think, is going to be in my trade plans. Darcy Wilson with a 59. He had an almost game, a couple of fumbles here and there, which really, I think, stopped him from really having a massive one. And I anticipate against Essendon, he's going to absolutely flourish, I reckon. We are an easy team to score against, and I think Wilson will score very well. Cadman not on the field was a miss. I lost, 43 points by having Sexton on field ahead of Cadman, but it is what it is. Cadman doing great things. He was sort of in my trade plans, what I was going to do to get Dempsey in, but having scored a 90, his break even now is negative 52. So I don't want to miss out on even more of great price rise coming out of Cadman. So I'm just going to hold on to him. And he looks really good. That second ruck role is also delicious. And then Buku Kamas, this guy is going to be a sneaky little selection for me. Fuku Kamas. A great FA. He's got 65 there, averaging 58, and he's going to get defensive DPP. And we know that the backline rookies can be a little bit inconsistent, and they're dropping like flies every single week. So Puku Kamas, hopefully he keeps his spot in the side, and then come round 6, coming into round 7, he should have the DPP, and that will come in really, really clutch for me. So that was the team as it was last week. We come to, I think, now talking about the trades. And as I sort of flagged, Hayden Young can get stuffed. Absolutely sick of him. As a selection, we gave him another week and he did not look good. So Massimo comes in. I think Mass is doing really well, averaging 104. And at that price, obviously, would love to get a Luke Ryan, for example. But he costs so much money. He actually costs so much money. I mean, 611 and Sarong's a 621. I could get either of these guys by trading out Dawson, who's more expensive, but I don't want to. I've already used a boost last week. I don't want to continue burning through my trades now. So I'm going to free up some money, go Young down to Mass, and then as I sort of flagged, Sexton's coming out, and the guy I'm getting in is Tom Powell. Tom Powell looks like the real deal because he is actually he's playing on the ball. And I know Big J sort of flagged him as a potential target last week, being in the midfield, and he does look incredible. And if I just pull up DFS Australia, not the GoDaddy, sorry, if I pull up Tom Powell, he's not a spring. He's not that he's old or anything, but he's now an experienced campaigner. This is now his 4th season in the AFL. 13 games, 18 games, 14 games. And the big difference is the percentage of the CBAs that he's getting. 76% and 93%. Now, we didn't get him in the... We didn't really... I wanted to have a look at him for one more week to see how he does with Simpkin in the team. Simpkin came back and he's still got 93% CBAs. Yes, he kicked 2 goals, and he might not kick 2 goals every single game, but he still found the ball 28 times, had the 5 tackles, and that 93% CBAs, top notch with 85% TOG, which is really good for a 129. If he can give us anywhere between that amount of scoring, he is a top 6 forward playing as a mid, and he will get DPP, mid DPP, which will be really, really handy. So I think Tom Powell at 312k is a shoo-in to be a top 6 forward. And that's another keeper now that we're bringing in for Sexton, who was always going to be a trade out. Young, we hoped he would be a keeper, but it just doesn't look it. It just does not look it, unfortunately. So those are my trades for this week. And I'll free up quite a lot of money, and I'm not going to use another boost to get in Dempsey. Why am I not going to get in Dempsey? I love Dempsey. He looked wonderful as a selection. But I'm not going to get Dempsey because there was one guy from the Bulldogs. His name is Sam Darcy. This guy looked absolutely unbelievable against the Gold Coast Suns. Absolutely unbelievable. And he scored 109. He scored 109. He honestly, this guy, 2 goals. So it's replicable. Absolutely replicable. 6 marks, backup ruck. He looks so much better than Rory Lobb. I don't know why Bevo has not been playing this kid more. But the team looks absolutely unreal with this guy. And I saw it in the preseason. He did look ready to go. And my word, he is ready. So the reason why I feel confident and comfortable fading Dempsey is because I know that this guy, well and truly, is on the cards for a pickup next week. And I think he's going to be an absolute must-have. And to be honest, I reckon you can get him this week. I would get him this week, if not for the fact that I don't want to waste a boost again. He's got the Eagles this week. He's got the Eagles this week. His break-evens are already -61. This guy is going to be an absolute must-have after next week. So I don't have an issue not getting Dempsey because we're going to have another great target to trade in Sam Darcy. So this is what it looks like. Let's just optimize. Might make it easier. All right, let's see. All right, yep. So these guys on there. Howes is someone I'd probably have ahead of Hall. Only because Hall was the sub, but it looks like Howes seems to have the better job security. But as the VC, I think he went around 180 last time he played against Melbourne. Let's see. Last time he played against Melbourne, 184. So, yeah, very cool. I'd love to see that. And then English, any ruckman against the Eagles is delicious. All right. And then in the midfield, I'm happy to have one person as a loop. Carroll, I think, will play. But if he doesn't, then we'll be looping who plays first. Carroll plays first anyway. So we can just put Carroll on the bench. We can put Carroll on the bench and put the emergency on him. And then if he performs really well, they're both playing on Friday night. Oh, the Good Friday clash this Friday. So North play Carlton. All right, I haven't thought this through then. All right, so I mean, we'll sort of rock it with this as it is. I suppose we'll see how Carroll does at 420. And if Carroll pops off, then we'll just Carroll score will come on for green. And then we can just also, we can then potentially loop Sharp and Clark as well. I will just take the emergency of Hall because unlikely he's going to. Oh, we can take emergency of him, and then we can have Sharp and Hall. See who's our best 18 this week. And then in the forward line, we'll put Cadden on the field, and then we'll loop between Darcy Wilson and Karmas. Wilson plays on the Saturday, and Karmas plays on the Sunday. So then we'll loop between these guys. So that's sort of what the team is going to look like coming into this round. Obviously, we've lost Tom Green and Flanders as two premiums this week, but we've still got Shazel, Houston, Dacos, Bont. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've still got 9 premiums this week. It's not a terrific number, to be honest, but I think it's going to be really important to hold this money because we are going to get to a point where we're going to start trading these players out. And players like Grundy, who's got his buy in a couple of weeks' time, we could be looking to move him on at that point. Same thing with the James Jordan, for example. So what I've done is I think I've improved my forward line by getting Tom Powell, could be a top 6. I've got a wonderful cash count in Mass. Yes, he's not a premium, but if he can give us anywhere between 87 and 110, if he can give us like a 90, 95 average, he's going to make us so much money, which will allow us to get somebody in the future. And I've also banked this cash which I can then use in the near future, to make some really good moves in other places. And I don't think the team is particularly weak on field. I'm looping a better option at F6. I'm looping some options in the midfield. I think I've got a great VC and C option this week. And I've got the trio of really good performing rookies on the field as well. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, was my team review of how I did in round 2. Obviously, I'm a lot happier this week compared to the first week. Congratulations to those of you who held on to Fisher. He definitely bounced back. And I did say that we anticipate a good bounce back from him playing under the roof against Fremantle. But, well done. I'm really trying to take in a full season point of view. And I don't regret those moves because it allowed me to get Sheasel, and Sheasel's going to be a wonderful scorer for me in the back line. And now I've also, netted some money from those two mid prices that I got in Jordan and Billings, and both of these guys are going to be involved in some trades in the future when they make me a little bit more cash. So if you liked what you saw from me here today, where we cracked the 2,000 and we've moved up over 50,000 slots, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the videos that we are pumping out, as well as the live streams, Mondays at 7:30 and Thursdays at 5:30 for the drive home. And we'll also, of course, be releasing our standard videos. We've got an extra one coming out where we will be tracking the DPPs, so you can keep a close eye on some of those great premiums that are on the horizon that we can get as DPP, and also for you to see whether your players that you currently have are going to get DPP status. Because remember, guys, here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work so you don't have to.